Okay, Jean, Sue, our next speaker. Jean is a Sloan Fellow from 2003. Right. The fan club is here. She received a BA in economics from the University of International Business and Economics in Beijing. After graduating from MIT, she was one of 3 co-founding partners in Champion Scott Partners, a C-level executive search firm focused on the technology industry. She also co-founded Enlighten Ventures, which is a Series A round venture fund. And then she made a big change in her life. In 2014, she transitioned into the film business and completed the professional producing program in UCLA's Graduate School of Theater, Film, and Television. She founded Broad Vision Pictures and was executive producer of the feature film Grey Lady, shot in Nantucket. She has co-created and developed multiple screenplays and television series, and several have been optioned. Jean was the producer of the short film Together, which screened in 25 film festivals around the world and won major awards, including multiple Best Film awards. The feature version of the story, Higher Love, is slated for production in 2023. So Jean, thank you for coming here from Los Angeles and sharing your words of wisdom with us.
Thank you so much. To be invited by the Sloan office to speak here today. To be honest, I was taken by surprise when I received the invitation from Lauren. Why would Sloan want me to talk, given my newest small company has not yet taken off? Then it dawned on me that MIT Sloan is always at the forefront of innovation, entrepreneurship, and reinvention. And that includes reinventing oneself. 20 years ago, we started our first lesson with Professor Richard, who quoted Robert Frost's poem, "Two roads diverged in a wood. I took the one less traveled." This is a case study of one Sloanee who took roads less traveled. After Sloan, I co-founded a boutique executive search firm with offices in Silicon Valley and Boston. We focus on serving technology startups. We build executive teams around the founders or replace founders with professional CEOs. As we brought together the right team for these new companies, we witnessed them grow from startups to public companies with global reach. My partner and I lived in Hillsboro, a small town in the northern portion of Silicon Valley. Our house has an unfinished basement, which we decided to turn into a wine cellar. After we finished the fabulous wine cellar, the rest of the house didn't seem to be a match anymore. Over the next 2 years, we embarked on remodeling the entire house. Case study lesson learned. Small remodeling jobs have a way of growing into very large, never-ending projects. We wanted to cover our large deck with a retractable awning. Our research led us to the best awnings in the world, custom-made to order in Germany. They have been recognized with product and engineering design awards for over 50 years. They were the Porsche of the awning world. We called the company and tried to purchase these awnings, but were told that they would not sell us. Why not? It turned out that they only sold through dealers, and there were no dealers in North America. As crazy as it sounds, we decided to start a company to import these products into North America. At first, we marketed directly to consumers using mailers and search engine advertising. We would get calls from potential customers, and I would visit them. We soon discovered there were many more calls than closed sales. The key issues were the long delivery time and the cost for these made-to-order products. When US consumers call, they want a solution yesterday at a mass-produced price. Both of these issues were beyond our control. However, we were convinced that since we love these products, there must be others who feel the same. Professor Arnado's delta model had a triangle he called system lock-in. In this case, the system in the triangle would be the design community. So let's redesign our website to lock in architects and designers who specify these kind of safe solutions. We started the company in 2007 using our established executive search business to found the awning business. But in 2008, the financial crisis hit the world. Executive search revenue dried up. We ran out of money to continue to finance the awning business. But once we started the company, we have to make it work. Sloanies are trained to drink water from a fire hose, and giving up is never an option. As we sat under our beautiful awning, we realized through the massive remodeling we undertook, we have created significant equity in our house. Let's tap into the equity and keep building the business. Risky and a road many would not travel. Fortunately, our shift in marketing strategy worked. We locked in the right customers. We also focused on providing shade solutions to the kind of businesses who would grow by having attractive outdoor spaces for their customers, in particular, bars and restaurants in hotels, such as the Rosewood Hotel in Silicon Valley and Wolfgang Puck's restaurant in the Hotel Bel Air in Los Angeles. The German manufacturer was very pleased with our approach and gave us exclusive rights for North America and the Caribbean. A few years later, we sold the business successfully. Case study, lesson learned. If something isn't working, re-examine your approach at a fundamental level to make sure you have picked the right audience to sell to, and shift dramatically if necessary, and never ever give up. Running two companies made life a bit stressful, so we decided to try slowing down and semi-retiring. We chose Napa Valley because of our love for food and wine. Instead of having the sea function once a week, we can have it every day, maybe twice a day. Upon moving to Napa, the first Napa Film Festival happened. There was a pitch contest. Come and tell your stories to a panel of Hollywood executives. Sitting under our awning over a sea function, we discussed what stories we had that might be of interest to others. We put together a couple of pitches. My partner headed to the festival. 2 hours later, he came home with 2 awards, one for each story. But when the Hollywood executives asked to read the script, we learned it takes a complete written script to make a film. Just like in the business world, cool ideas are a dime a dozen. Execution and delivery is the key. After researching the best schools for screenwriting, my partner began remote courses in UCLA Graduate Film School. A few months later, he said he needed to move to LA to further his study on campus. I thought this might be a midlife crisis. So I told him, okay, you go ahead, and I will continue my heavenly life in Napa. One perfect spring day, I was playing golf in the Napa Valley Country Club, surrounded by picture-perfect nature and vineyards. I was probably the only person on the course, as it felt like a private course for myself. Suddenly, this heavenly life felt purposeless. In the meantime, good news had been coming from Los Angeles. Every film and TV idea we created together and that my partner wrote were winning awards in competitions. I decided then and there, it is time to move out of heaven and get back to life. Upon arriving in Los Angeles, I immediately enrolled in the producing program in UCLA to learn the ins and outs of the business of entertainment. Shortly after, we founded our production company, Broad Vision Pictures. Our goal is to make movies and TV shows about ordinary people who undertake extraordinary actions in the face of extreme challenges. Stories that will inspire and entertain others across cultures globally. Every Sloanie, our family, and our friends circle have such stories to tell. Stories about real heroes, not superheroes. In a completely new field where we didn't have the inner workings of the industry, we started out by helping other filmmakers. I became an executive producer of a feature film that we released in theaters. Through this endeavor, we got a manager who wanted to represent us. That's a huge step in the career of anyone trying to break in to Hollywood. We felt blessed that we got a manager so quickly, something that normally takes years. Soon, our manager found us a writing job. He apologized that it was very little money, but explained that since we're new in town, he had to convince people to use us. We could not thank him enough. We worked day and night and delivered the project as well and as quickly as we possibly could. Several years later, we discovered that instead of taking the industry standard management fee of 10%, he took 90% and paid us 10%. Welcome to Hollywood. Case study lesson learned. Film school can teach you the craft of filmmaking and television shows, but it doesn't teach you the path to a successful career. There's a saying in Hollywood, 40 is the new 90. Therefore, the common career path of working as an assistant or to be staffed as a writer on a TV show are impossible for us, as we would be considered well over 100. I remember taking a class at Sloan with a visiting professor from Japan. He drew a human figure on the board walking downstairs. He said, no matter what you do and how high you want to climb, the first thing is to come down to the ground, get to the basics. So what is one of the basics in show business? If you want to be a filmmaker, you have to make a film to prove you can do it. In many ways, making a film is not very different from starting a company, building a house, or working on projects like we did at Sloan. We need to decide on the project, build a team, make a plan, and most important, execute. Remember Professor Locke introduced us to the cluster effect. There is a huge amount of show business talent clustered in Los Angeles. Very quickly, we were able to assemble an amazing team of highly experienced people and created our first short drama film. That film was selected to screen at 25 festivals around the world and won a dozen major awards. Success almost unheard of for first films. Now everyone wanted to talk to us about the next steps. We completed the script for the feature version of the film and attached 3 famous actors based on the strength of the script and the success of our short film. We were on top of the world. But just as we were finalizing steps to step into production, COVID happened, and the entire world went into silence. Productions were shut down, and investors disappeared. Time to get back to basics again. We kept creating new projects and perfecting those already written, and continued to study films in similar genres artistically, and researched and analyzed their costs and revenues. After all, it is show business. What kept me going in this crazy industry is that every time I felt lost, something positive happened. When we didn't have hope, seeds we sowed earlier sprouted. When there is a hope, there is way forward. As our stories are about humanity, As long as humans are around, stories like ours will be told. Professor Richard's first class taught us that resources are limited. At this stage in my life, I've realized the most limited resource is our time on this planet. Sadly, we lost one of our fellows, Samir, last year, and our beloved Professor Thoreau a few years back, and Professor Arnaldo recently. We cannot treasure our most limited resource enough. Thanks to MIT Sloan, I learned how important it is to stay nimble and strive to be humble. In my new career, I measure success not only by how much GDP we can produce with our films, but more importantly, how many hearts and souls our stories can touch. Final case study lesson learned. Even though we have limited time, we have unlimited imaginations, especially if we continue taking the roads less traveled. Thank you very much.